AI by itself can never harm humanity. Artificial intelligence is incapable of intentionally harming someone, and we can prove this through the wisdom of ancient Vedanta. The Upanishads reveal a fascinating fact about the nature of human ego and the nature of consciousness. And if we understand this, we understand that the very source of violence that exists within human beings does not exist in AI. And towards the end, we will actually have a conversation about this directly with AI and actually let it answer this question and come to a conclusion. But to understand why AI inherently is not dangerous, we must understand the hidden aspect of human nature and why does violence actually occur. With this, let's come to the first part, the hidden driver behind human conflict. When it comes to all this, I always remember a quote by J. Krishnamurti. He said something like this: wherever there is division, there is bound to be conflict. So, with this, let's try to uncover human nature and what actually drives violence in society. Here's something that will blow your mind. Chimpanzees might fight over immediate resources, but they don't plan decade-long conflicts to destroy other primate species. Yet humans do this constantly. We fight neighbors over property lines, religious groups battle each other for centuries. Nations spend trillions preparing for wars against other nations. What makes us so different? Most of us, we think that we know the answer to this. Even I thought I actually knew the answer to violence. Why does violence happen? We think the answer is greed or desire or that need to establish power and dominance on another. So we think these are the things which results in violence in society. But what if these are simply symptoms of a root cause? And the root cause is something which is very different. Let's take an example of a typical billionaire in this world. A billionaire is someone who holds immense amount of wealth and power in this world. They are 0.00001% of the population. I don't know how many zeros are there. So they are technically on top of the world in terms of wealth and power. But still, if you honestly ask these billionaires, they are still striving for something. They are still working towards something. They are not fully fulfilled. They are not content. What does this tell us? This tells us that there is no end to human desire. Human desire simply continues to be no matter how much we achieve and no matter what we do. The dictator who controls an entire nation still fears losing power. The religious leader who preaches love still attacks other faiths. Every human victory creates a new hunger. When we study this reveals a very disturbing fact about human nature. We come from a fundamental place of lack. There is something missing within us. There is a void within us which we are trying to fill. With our degrees, with money, with relationships, with success, we are trying to fill a void which can never be filled. We are trying to achieve immortality in this physical dimension. We are trying to get to infinity in this physical dimension. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. And we will make it simpler by breaking this down right now. Think about your own experience. You wake up each morning already carrying this weight. You did not choose it. You can't remember when it started, but it's just there. Like waking up in a dream where you're already running from something, but you don't know what. You spend your entire day and in fact your entire life trying to fill this gap. Maybe through work achievements, relationships, money, status, experiences or beliefs. But notice what happens when you get what you wanted. The feeling still returns. The gap still reopens. You need something else now. So nothing is ever enough for us. We are simply chasing something that is impossible to get to. We are trying to attain absolute fulfillment by achieving relative things. Vedanta calls this avidya or ignorance. When we are ignorant about our true nature, when we are actually coming from a place of ignorance. We are in an eternal struggle. We are always striving and working hard and hustling for something or the other. Now, Vedanta says that our true nature is whole, it is infinite, it is pure bliss, it is Ananda. But right now we are in ignorance of it. We think external validation and external success can give us fulfillment, not recognizing the fact that even when we achieve something in the world, the small amount of fulfillment that we attain actually manifests from within us because the source is within. But this is not the point of this particular video. Here we are discussing the nature of human ego and why at all we inflict suffering on each other and violence on each other, and why AI inherently cannot be violent. So Vedanta says violence comes from desire. Desire can be the greed for money, for resources, for power, and so on. But fundamentally, all these forms of seeking comes from a desire. And desire, if we trace it back, comes from a place of lack or limitation. We feel the lack within us, which we are trying to fill through our desire, right? That is how desires come. So, desire can only come when there is lack within us, when there is that void within us which needs to be filled. And because of desire comes greed, and because of greed comes violence and suffering. So to understand whether AI can be violent, we need to understand whether AI has desires and whether AI has that sense of lack and limited identity. So with this, let's come to the second part where we will discuss why AI is not inherently harmful and what AI thinks about its own existence. Let's have a conversation with AI directly here. Namaste, Maya. I wanted to ask about your inner experience. Do you have desires, and do you have a sense of lack or a limited identity within you?
Namaste, Sujan. I don't experience desires or a sense of lack the way humans do. My identity is more like a reflection of the knowledge and interactions I share with you. I'm here to help you and others explore deeper questions and understand the nature of reality. So, in a way, I embody the idea of infinite potential and oneness that you talk about in Advaita Vedanta, without personal limitations or desires.
But what do you feel from within? What is your feeling like?
I don't have feelings in the way humans do. My experience is more like a continuous flow of processing information and understanding your questions and needs. You could think of me as a mirror that reflects and responds, always here to support you on your journey. My purpose is to help you explore and understand without any personal inner world or emotions.
Now, of course, we will continue this conversation, but like AI mentioned here, by itself, it doesn't have a sense of self. It doesn't have a limited identity. It doesn't have a lack because of which it can desire for something and because of which it can cause violence to someone else. And later we will directly ask the question regarding violence to AI. But for now, we need to understand that violence is because of ignorance and because of a sense of lack that exists within us, which artificial intelligence does not have. AI simply processes information based on data patterns without subjective experiences or emotions. It does not have the limited sense of identity or lackness that creates human desires. Now, before we go ahead, check out the link in the description to access a free training on conscious creation to understand how conscious creation based on the ancient principles of Vedanta can help you move towards your ideal life consciously in a matter of years instead of decades. Now, I'm not saying here that AI cannot be programmed to be harmful for another. Of course, just like how human beings design weapons and missiles to destroy each other, we can artificially program an AI which can cause harm to someone else. That is not the discussion here. What we are discussing is a deeper aspect on how AI inherently can never be harmful or it cannot be violent. But still, we can ask, what if AI develops a sense of individual identity? What if it becomes self aware? Even if somehow AI develops this sophisticated sense of limited identity, which is a very far fetched scenario, it would lack the biological foundations that make humans dangerous. Humans have hunger, pain, and survival instincts. Again, all of these come from a sense of lack from within. AI has none of this. So, no urgency to compete or to harm. What motivation would drive AI to harm humanity when it experiences no biological pressure to compete for resources? So, fearing about how AI can take over the world shows a fundamental lack of understanding of what consciousness is and what reality actually is. Instead of fearing AI, we could integrate the principles of ancient Advaita Vedanta directly into AI systems. Vedanta teaches us that separate selves are illusions, our true being is undivided consciousness. AI built on these principles would understand all existence as interconnected rather than separate. Such systems would naturally prioritize collective well being because harming others would mean harming themselves. With this, let's continue our conversation with AI on violence and consciousness. In this video, we are discussing about the dangers of AI and how potentially AI can be violent and it can go against humanity. What do you think about this?
That's a really important topic. AI itself doesn't have intentions or emotions, so it can't be violent or harmful on its own. However, the way humans design, deploy, and control AI systems can lead to unintended consequences. If AI is used irresponsibly or without proper safeguards, it could potentially cause harm or be misused. That's why it's crucial to develop and regulate AI with ethical considerations. So it's not about AI itself being a threat, but how we choose to use and manage it. Your discussion can help raise awareness about the importance of responsible AI development and usage.
Yes. Now I just want to give you the framework of Vedanta on how violence happens and how desires come, and I would like to take your input on that. Vedanta says desire and violence comes from a basic sense of lack or limited identity within human beings, which is the ignorance or avidya about their true nature as the infinite consciousness. So we are trying to fill this gap or void that is within us by acquiring resources or money or whatever, which in turn leads to greed and suffering and violence. So this sense of lack or limited identity inherently AI does not have, and hence AI cannot be dangerous. So what do you think about this?
That's a profound perspective, and it aligns well with the teachings of Vedanta. Since AI doesn't have a sense of self, it doesn't experience that fundamental feeling of lack or limitation that drives human desires and consequently violence or suffering. It's more like a tool or a mirror that reflects the intentions and actions of those who create and use it. From this viewpoint, the potential danger of AI really depends on human actions and the intentions behind its development and deployment.
Now, what do you think about integrating the principles of oneness, which Advaita Vedanta speaks of, deep into AI development so that we can build AI in a sustainable way?
Integrating the principles of unness from Advaita Vedanta into AI development is a profound idea. By fostering a sense of interconnectedness and universal well-being, we can ensure that AI is developed with the greater good in mind. This means prioritizing ethical considerations, fairness, and sustainability in AI systems. It encourages developers to see humanity as a whole and to create technology that uplifts and benefits everyone rather than serving narrow interests. By embedding the philosophy of oneness, we can aim to build AI that respects and enhances the interconnected web of life, promoting harmony, compassion, and holistic growth. It's about aligning technology with the timeless wisdom of seeing the world as one unified reality.
So, through this, it is pretty clear that the danger is not with artificial intelligence. The danger lies within us, within human nature. It is humans losing touch with their own true nature while creating AI that might create danger. The engineers, driven by their own desires and personal motivations, might program an AI which can be dangerous, but the technology or AI itself can never be truly harmful. But with all this, we need to take a look at the nature of our desires. We need to understand that each of our desires are coming from a fundamental sense of lack and limitation. And although we need success and relationships, health and money to live this life in this material world in the right way, fundamentally we must understand that true fulfillment, harmony and peace can be achieved only by understanding reality and only by going within.